on that. Keep your news up. You got to do what you got to do, right? Got to do what you got to do. But, guys, it is time to talk a little bit about the Jacksonville Jaguars. It is time to talk about, quite arguably, the most overrated team in the NFL. It is time to talk about a team that paid Trevor Lawrence $245 million to be completely below average. But before we talk about the 2024 season, we have to talk about 2023 NFL season. We have to talk to the fact that all they had to do the last 6-7 weeks of the season was win 2 games and they would have made it to the playoffs. We have to talk about last season, how they finished 9-8. We have to talk about how last season they lost to every potential playoff team in their 2023 NFL season. Guys, the Jacksonville Jaguars are quite arguably one of the most overrated, overhyped, underachieving teams in the NFL. Ever since their 28-point comeback versus the LA Chargers a couple years ago, they have yet to make the playoffs again. They have yet to really have a dominating season. They have yet to really be the darlings of the AFC East or the AFC that everybody makes them out to be. Now, this offseason, they did add a couple pieces, right? They did add a couple pieces. They added Eric Armstead and Ronald Darby to that defensive side of the ball. Because one of the biggest weaknesses of the Jacksonville Jaguars last season was their run-stopping ability. They could not stop a bloody nose. Let's just be honest. I bet you my high school kids could have ran all over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Granted, we're running some wishbone this year because our quarterback's out for 6 weeks with a broken thumb. But you know what? Stop us if you can. But they couldn't. They also had no lockdown corners. Last season, the Jacksonville Jaguars secondary was suspect at best. You never knew who was going to step up and kind of be the guy. The safety, they had safety situations back there too. Could you really ever play a single high safety, right? Press on the outside and have help over the top? Struggling for the Jacksonville Jaguars all season long. One of the worst defenses in the NFL that we have seen in a long, long time. Hopefully this season they have kind of queued that up a little bit, with the addition of Eric Armstead and Ronald Darby to the defensive side of the ball. Oh, by the way, Josh Allen has a new name now. Hines Allen. So let's not get it twisted, Buffalo Bills fans. No more talking about them. But the Jacksonville Jaguars guys have to put up or shut up this season. They absolutely have to shut up or put up this season because of all of the cap that they have spent. Matt Henry said it best. Jacksonville has a history of overpaying. Just see Christian Kirk. Exactly. They just overpaid for who else did they just sign today? Was like a left guard or something? Guys, the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to have a bad season. James says the Jags get destroyed in 47 days by the Dolphins to start the season. And that's exactly where we're going to start. Week 1. Week 1, the Jacksonville Jaguars travel down to Miami for a state of Florida battle to take on the Miami Dolphins. Jacksonville Jaguars, you guys could not start your season off on any other game. This is the worst game that you could potentially start your game on. Why? Because the Miami Dolphins have a high-flying offense. What was your struggles last season? No lockdown corner. We don't know if our safety is going to be there to help us on the backside if we ever need it. We can't stop the run. And, oh, by the way, our offensive line can never stay healthy either. The Miami Dolphins are going to expose that all of week 1. Miami Dolphins are going to expose that your Ronald Darby is not the answer in the secondary. Miami Dolphins are going to expose that Eric Armstead isn't the run-stopping guy that we all thought he could have been. The Miami Dolphins are going to expose that the offensive line, guess what, just isn't very good. Healthy or not, they're not very good. Hell, the Miami Dolphins defense might shut down Christian Kirk and Gabe Davis and keep them underneath 100 yards passing. There is absolutely no question in my mind that the Miami Dolphins are going to walk all over the Jacksonville Jaguars in this opening game. There's no question in my mind. James said it best. In 47 days, we all find out that all this offseason work that the Jacksonville Jaguars did is all for nothing. Darnell Darby on the defense, Eric Armstead, paying Trevor Lawrence, picking up Gabe Davis, not getting any offensive line help because we're just injured last season. All going to be exposed in week 1. Miami Dolphins are going to flex on the Jaguars, and it is going to be embarrassing. So it's so embarrassing fact that we're going to see, like my man Ant just said here, the facts are that the Texans, Colts, and Titans all got better. They all got better, and the Jacksonville Jaguars got worse. They may have thought they got better, but they didn't. They get exposed. Nash Production says, hey, what's your favorite team? Chiefs Kingdom, baby, right there. Chiefs Kingdom. I'm a Chiefs fan. But you think that is going to sway the way I think how the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be? No, you got another thing coming. Not only did the Jacksonville Jaguars not get better this offseason, they got one hell of a first 8 game schedule too. Opening week start with Miami Dolphins. Week number 2, the Cleveland Browns come down to Jacksonville. Top 5 defense in the NFL, Deshaun Watson, if he's a shell of himself from 2019, probably going to take this team to an AFC championship game. But what did we just speak about the Jacksonville Jaguars? We spoke about how they could not stop a bleeding nose on the running game. What do the Cleveland Browns do very, very well, guys? I'll wait. What do they do very well? Here you go, Nick Chubb. Oh, Nick Chubb, you want the ball again? Oh, hey, Nick, you want to run the ball again? Yeah. Jacksonville Jaguars get exposed once again that they cannot stop a bloody nose. Up and down the field goes Nick Chubb week 2. Up and down the field goes Nick Chubb second quarter, third quarter. Hey, Nick, you want a break? I mean, you already got 260 yards. You want to run some more? Okay. That is what it's going to be like in this game. Hell, I could call the offensive plays. Nick Chubb, go to the 3-hole. Nick Chubb, 4-hole. Nick Chubb, 3-hole. Nick Chubb, 4-hole. That's all you got to do in this game. The only way the Jacksonville Jaguars have a shooting shot in this 2024 NFL season is if they average 31 points per game. They got to average 31 points per game because their defense is not going to be any good. Offensive line is suspect at best. Last season, I know it was all health. Oh, we're not healthy. We're not healthy. We're not this, whatever. At some point, health would just be like, you know what? We're just not very good. And then week number 3 comes around. Nash Productions, Buffalo Bills have a home game versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars are kind of licking their wounds, kind of figure out, oh, shit. Gabe Davis is pumped up for this game, though. Gabe Davis is like, give me the ball. Give me the ball. I want to school my old team. Well, guess what? Trevor Lawrence has exactly 3.2 seconds to throw every down in this game. The Buffalo Bills front 7 is going to pin their ears back and go get Trevor Lawrence. Oh, you want to hand the ball to Travis Etienne? Cool. Whatever. We'll let him get 8, 9 yards, whatever. Trevor Lawrence, you're going to find yourself in the dirt a lot in this game. Gabe Davis is going to get shut down. Christian Kirk's going to get shut down. The defense gets exposed again. Jaguars do not score 31 points. They got to score 31 points to be competitive in this year's NFL. And they can't do it against the Buffalo Bills. I do think the Buffalo Bills will take a couple steps back this season, but not too much that the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to beat them. Starting out the season 0-3. Week number 4. Let's travel to Houston to take on the Texans. All the Jacksonville Jaguars had to do last season was win 2 of their last 8 games, and they would have been in the playoffs. The Houston Texans would have been out. Well, guess what? The Jacksonville Jaguars could not do that. Jacksonville Jaguars couldn't do it last year. They probably won't do it again this season. I think Ant said it best right here. Texans, Colts, and Titans all got better this offseason. Texans got a lot better. Not only with the addition of Stephon Diggs, but they added now Cam Akers to that running back room. They traded for Joe Mixon. They added Danielle Hunter on the defensive side. The Houston Texans guys, I thought were going to probably take a couple backs this season, maybe a sophomore slump a little bit for C.J. Stroud. It doesn't matter. The rest of the team is really, really, really good. Really, really, really good. Jacksonville Jaguars take another hit on the chin, starting off the season 0-4. Giving us a Week 5 matchup. Week 5 matchup. Indianapolis Colts come down to Jacksonville, Florida to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Before we get too carried away, Casey says, you think Mac Jones will be starting position by the end of the season? It's coming. It's coming. Jim Powell says Jaguars will be lucky to win 3 games this season. Nash Production says, yeah, the Bills might be bad, but I still think they're 9-8 record at worst. Correct. Speaking of 9-8 record, Indianapolis Colts. They come, for whatever reason, the Colts don't play well in Jacksonville. I don't know if it's because of the heat, because of the travel. For whatever reason, they just don't play well in Jacksonville. Anthony Richardson this will be his 7th game as a starter at this point, maybe 8th game as a starter, because he played 3 games last season, Week 5. He's still really wet behind the ears. The Colts remind me so much of the Green Bay Packers from last season. Start off the season slow, end the season hot. Still first half of the season. I think this is the first win for the Jacksonville Jaguars coming into Week 5. They do beat the Indianapolis Colts. It's going to be a nasty game, but they still got to score 31 points to win this game, so it's going to be a 31-28 score. Last second field goal to win the game. Lou Man's in the chat. What's up, Lou Man 007? Glad you can join us today. Week number 6. They travel across the pond. The home away from home for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Last season, they had 2 games over the pond. One of which, I think they won both of them, right? And they beat the Buffalo Bills. People were riding high on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Oh, they beat the Bills. I don't remember who else they played over there. What's like the Jets or something? Like, oh, this team's good. And the wheels fall off. The Jacksonville Jaguars play well in Europe. I don't know if it's because they're used to playing over there so much, or they just don't have the pressure of the stadium or pressures of this, or wasn't their kicker the one that was paying the stewardess to strip? They're just relaxed, right? They're just relaxed. They're having a good time, and they get their 2nd win of the season. They're now on a 2-game winning streak with wins over the Colts and the Chicago Bears, giving us a Week 7 matchup. The New England Patriots and Jacoby Brissett come down to Florida to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is where the true identity of the Jacksonville Jaguars come out to play. First 4 games of the season, we talked that they could not stop a bloody nose, right? Run all of them up and down the field. The New England Patriots have the 2nd worst wide receiver core in the NFL currently as it stands. They have a quarterback that is a stopgap fill quarterback. Not going to make his team worse, but he's not going to make his team better, right? he is who he is. He has some bright moments and then some dull moments. That's who Jacoby Brissett is. Patriots defense is pretty solid. Running game has potential. I think the New England Patriots go into Jacksonville in this game and they slug it out 10-7, 10-6. They run the ball a lot. They run the ball a lot in this game, all over Eric Armstead and the rest of that Jaguars front seven. Josh Hines Allen, who? Right? Exactly. It's going to be a long game for the Jacksonville Jaguars because their defense is going to play so many snaps in this game. This is going to be a ball control game where the Patriots they might control the ball for 45 minutes. they might control the ball for 3 full quarters. Just might do it, but they lose. Or the Patriots win, Jaguars lose in this game. Week number 8. This is a game that I have circled for the Green Bay Packers, right? When we broke down the NFC North last week, this is a game I'm like, hey, Packers fans, watch out for this game. The Jaguars could come up and bite you in the ass. And I do think that the Jaguars come and bite the Packers up in this ass. The Jaguars break 30 points again in this game. This is a shootout. An all-time epic Jordan Love versus Trevor Lawrence 45-point game apiece. Defense, what? We don't need defense. Let's just play 7-on-7. Jacksonville Jaguars have to score 31 points this year to win football games, and they scored 31 points this game, Week 8, versus the Green Bay Packers, giving them their third win of the season. Giving us a Week 9 matchup. Week 9 matchup where they traveled to Philly to take on the Eagles. When we spoke about the Philadelphia Eagles a month ago now, I said they got a high ceiling or a low floor, right? There's going to be no mediocre point for the Philadelphia Eagles at any point this season. I think they'll be really good or really, really, really bad. At home versus the Jaguars, the Eagles are a really good football team. At home versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Philadelphia Eagles run all over the Jacksonville Jaguars. There is a common theme to all these Jacksonville Jaguars losses. They are teams that are potential playoff teams that are more physical than them, and teams that will run all over them. Flashback to 2023. The Jacksonville Jaguars played 9 games versus playoff teams. They won 1 of those. They won 1 of those versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. A Pittsburgh Steelers team that somehow stuck into the playoffs. Probably shouldn't have. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Lou Man's copying me on my Roadcast microphone. Thanks, Lou Man. Jim Powell says if Love doesn't light this up, he won't be in Week 9. Listen, Jordan Love is going to be the Packers quarterback for a very, very long time. I've heard reports that Jordan Love's getting ready to sign a $270 million contract. You do not have $65 million a season sitting on the bench, Jim. That's just the way it is. And Casey said it best. He's sitting out at the moment to get paid. Jordan Love is sitting out. He's going to get paid. They are close. Lou Man thinks the Eagles lay an egg in this game. What? Slow it down, baby. Slow it down. But Week 10. Week 10 is a very interesting game for me. Because right now in Minnesota, we're hearing rumbles of Sam Darnold sucks. Sam Darnold's this. The Minnesota Vikings are trashed or they're bust or whatever, right? As you guys know, I do have Sam Darnold getting benched. I think it's Week 11. And I believe this was his final game versus Jacksonville Jaguars. Because the Jacksonville Jaguars do beat a bad Minnesota team. This is the one win of the season where the Jacksonville Jaguars do not score over 31 points because they simply just don't have to. It's going to be a 17-0, 21-0 type of score, and the Jacksonville Jaguars actually look like a dominant team, right? The Jacksonville Jaguars actually look like a team that's competent of winning some games. The Jacksonville Jaguars in this Week 10 game look like a team that could win the AFC South. Could they potentially get hot? Could they start to rattle off some wins? They got a win versus the Minnesota Vikings, but Week 11, everything comes crashing back down to reality. Everything comes crashing back down when they travel to Detroit to take on Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions. As I do think the Detroit Lions will only be a 10-win team this season, that doesn't mean they're not a good team. That doesn't mean they have a smothering defense. That doesn't mean that their offense is top-notch. That doesn't mean that they're going to not dominate the Jacksonville Jaguars, because that's exactly what they're going to do. Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be coming in kind of high, kind of chest out a little bit. Hey, we just beat the Vikings. Lions, meow. They get swallowed. They get walloped 45-10. It hurts. It hurts this game. It hurts this game, and we go have a Week 12 bye week. We have a Week 12 bye week. Now, what I just said about Jordan Love, you do not have $65 million on the bench, right? Jordan Love, I believe he's gotten $60 million a season, right? $245 million over the next 4 or 5 years. I can't remember for sure. You do not sit that type of money on the bench. However, Trevor Lawrence is your franchise guy moving forward. Trevor Lawrence is your quarterback for at least the next 3 years. Trevor Lawrence is getting beaten around all season long. The offensive line, healthy or not, they're just not very good. The defense, healthy or not, just not very good. Receiving core, healthy or not, just not very good. Is it a Trevor Lawrence thing? Is it a scheme thing? Is it a outside factor thing? Either way, I think Week 12, Trevor Lawrence finds himself on the bench. Whether it's via IR, whether it's via, hey, we're protecting you, or whether it's like, hey, no, you suck, sit your ass on the bench, I think Mac Jones comes in and he takes the helm. He takes the helm and kind of resurrects this team a little bit. He kind of resurrects like, hey, guys, come on. I've been in shitty-ass situations on a worse-ass team. We got a good team. Let's come home. Let's bring in the defending AFC South champions, and let's put up 31 points on them, and let's win this game. And then that's exactly what Mac Jones and the Jacksonville Jaguars do come Week 13. Houston Texans don't know what hit them after this Week 13 game. Houston Texans like, whoa, slow it down, baby. We thought we were going to sweep this series. And Jacksonville's like, not today. Not today. Jacksonville Jaguars now got a little swag in them. Mac Jones is like, hey, I like playing football. I'm not too bad. Not too bad. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars carry that on into Week 14. They go into Nashville. They take on Will Levis and the Tennessee Titans, and they win yet again. They have now won 2 games in a row coming off the bye week. Hell, winners of their last 3. Week 14, New York Jets come down to Florida. Could be Aaron Rodgers, could be Nick Mullins, or whoever the hell their backup or fifth-string quarterback is. It doesn't matter. Mac Jones and the Jacksonville Jaguars right now are clicking. Right now, Mac Jones is the spark that the Jacksonville Jaguars needed. They beat the New York Football Jets in Week 15 for the 3rd straight win of the season, giving us a Week 16 matchup. Let's travel to Arrowhead West and Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. And let's carry this momentum on and beat a bad Raiders team. Not so fast, my friend. As my man Chris Berman says. Whoop! Not so fast, my friend. Or that's Lee Corso. I don't know. Whoever. Raiders beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. Raiders beat the Jacksonville Jaguars bad. Raiders beat the Jacksonville Jaguars so bad that Doug Pederson does not get on the flight to come home. Las Vegas Raiders beat the Jacksonville Jaguars so bad, hell, the defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator may not even get on the flight. Las Vegas Raiders put up 50 points on the Jacksonville Jaguars in this Week 16 game, and it all spirals out of control for the rest of the season. Week 17, back at home versus the Tennessee Titans. Another bad, embarrassing loss. Embarrassing. Week 18 game, traveled to Indianapolis. Another bad and embarrassing loss. Giving the Jacksonville Jaguars a 7-10 record on the season. Giving them a not so stellar AFC South record, not so stellar NFL record, not so stellar draft pick either. Because when you look at it, Week 12 is their bye week. They only have 4 wins at that particular time. They probably should have just kept Trevor Lawrence in there and lost to the Texans and Titans and Jets. Not give that spark with Mac Jones. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are just an overrated, overhyped team. 7-10 this season. Lou Man says, oh boy, maybe he be fumbling again, man hour. Maybe. Jim Powell says, you don't believe they are that bad. You have to say that to look in the mirror. Talk about the Raiders. Are you talking about the Raiders, Jim? James Chamberlain says, if the Jags beat the Raiders overpay for Mac Jones in 2025. Oh, good Lord. I don't think the Raiders want Mac Jones or get Mac Jones. The Raiders will overpay for a quarterback, though. The Las Vegas Raiders will overpay for a quarterback in 2025. Whether it's for Tua, whether it's for Daniel Jones, whether it's for Dak Prescott, hell, what if it's for Brock Purdy, right? They're going to overpay for a quarterback that is not wanted on said team. They're not going to draft a guy. They're not going to go after a backup like Trey Lance or Zach Wilson or anybody like that. They're going to go for a Dak Prescott, a Tua, Kyler Murray, hell, maybe even Geno Smith. They're going to overpay. James, you are exactly right. Casey says, I feel the Jags are on a fire sale after this season, and Trevor Lawrence will be wearing new colors in 2025. Now, if that were to happen for Trevor Lawrence, there's a huge, huge cap hit. I don't know what the cap hit is, but I believe it was somewhere north of like $65 million on a dead cap hit. Meaning that the Jacksonville Jaguars, no matter if Trevor Lawrence is on their team or not, they that salary goes against their team for the 2025 and 2026 NFL season. Now, I don't know how a dead cap hit hits if you trade said person, right? If you trade that player to the Raiders or to the Cardinals or to the Giants, I don't know how dead cap stuff hits then. I'll have to look that up and get back to you guys. But Trevor Lawrence will be a Jaguar unless he is traded. And looking at his contract is going to take a couple first-round picks. Is a team like the Giants willing to give up a couple first-round picks for Trevor Lawrence? Is a team like the Cowboys willing to give up a couple picks for Trevor Lawrence? I just don't see that happening. John's in the chat. What's up, John? He says, why do you think they're that bad? No trust in T-Law? That is one. I do not have any trust in Trevor Lawrence. I think he is overrated, overhyped, overpaid. I mean, yes, he did have that 28-point comeback versus the Chargers 3 years ago. But really, he has never really wowed you, right? He has had a couple games of greatness. He's had a couple games of like, man, okay, right? But then flashback to the Kansas City Chiefs game last season. Chiefs were struggling. Chiefs couldn't find the end zone, right? They still lost that game because Trevor Lawrence was just that bad. But it goes beyond that. It goes beyond the fact that they have no shutdown corner. The Jacksonville Jaguars have no shutdown corner. Yes, I understand you don't always need a number one corner to shut down the side of the field, but it helps. It's nice. Safety help. All the film that I watched, you can never count on the safety being there to cover your single high guy. If you play man on the outside, you like to have a single safety high to help over the top. That safety that they have is just not fast enough, just not quick enough to cover ground, right? Their defensive line, their front seven, not very good at stopping the run. Yes, I understand they got Eric Armstead this season that should help. But how good is Eric Armstead? Was Eric Armstead the big name because of the people that were around him, right? Only time will tell. That week one game versus the Miami Dolphins, that time will tell. But most importantly, why I do not have any faith in Jacksonville Jaguars this season is because the offensive line. Every show that I've been on, every show that I've watched, everything that I read, they're saying last year was a fluke because the offensive line wasn't healthy. The offensive line wasn't this, and this. Like, I think they said they played all five starters was like 40% of the snaps last season or something crazy. I get it. But when the old line was healthy, when all five starters were in there, Trevor Lawrence had very little time to pass the ball. Even when the offensive line altogether was in there or individually, right? Nobody really jumped off the film at me and said, hey, I'm a good right tackle. Hey, I'm a good left tackle. Nobody on the offensive line really showed me that. And that is very worrisome when you have a quarterback at Trevor Lawrence that does like to hang on to the ball a little bit. Trevor Lawrence likes to survey the field and get the big play. When you don't have time, that hurts you. And that's why I think they'll be bad this season for those reasons. WB Ant says, I blame the Chargers for the Jaguars' hype. They should have never blown that lead in that playoff game. And I think you are 100% correct. And I want to take it one step further. I bet you if the Chargers would have won that playoff game, Trevor Lawrence would have already be in a new uniform as a backup quarterback somewhere. That one 28-point comeback playoff win saved Trevor Lawrence's career in Jacksonville, gave him that big payday that he doesn't deserve. And he's the only reason why the Jacksonville Jaguars will forever be mediocre. They'll forever be mediocre. Unless something drastically happens. Somehow Gabe Davis and Christian Kirk find magic in a bottle, become the top receivers in the NFL. The offensive line gives Trevor Lawrence 6 seconds to throw the ball. I just don't see it. John says, I actually see them as a 6-11 team, but I don't think they get blown out as much. Just don't finish any games, really. So the one thing that is also bad about the Jacksonville Jaguars, at least last season, is they got out physicaled in many, many games. And the games that they lost that were somewhat competitive, they got out physicaled. They ran the ball down their throats over and over and over again. I used to like me some Josh Allen. Josh Hines Allen now, right? I used to really like him a lot. I thought he was a stud on the defensive side of the ball. He's still pretty damn good. But last season kind of exposed him a little bit. Was it because of he didn't have any help? Maybe, right? But it kind of exposed him a little bit. I just don't think the Jaguars are very good. Casey said the Jags can't beat good defenses, physical defenses, right? What makes the defense good? Physical play in your face, pressure on the quarterback. James says you got to have a corner, and that's at least in the top half of the league, to funnel pass offense to one side of the field. This is facts. It is a hell of a lot easier for 10 guys to cover 2/3 of a field than the full field, right? If I can have one guy legitimately lock down hash the sideline, a third of the field, and you 10 guys only got to cover 2/3 of the field, it's a hell of a lot easier to play defense. It's a hell of a lot more fun. Pin your ears back and go get the quarterback, because I don't got to be worried about getting beat on the top side, or stop the run and go get the quarterback. Right? Casey also says this year's game is going to be a lot different since defense have to play flag football. Let me ask you this question, guys. In a general roundabout way, the NFL seems to get safer year after year after year. Air quotes there, right? People say, oh, the 60 were the glory days when old used to clothesline, take quarterbacks' heads like heads off. No, the 70s was better. No, the 80s was better. Take it back to the 90s, 2000, we had big hits. I understand it is all about player safety. I understand I got to teach my high school kids how to basically change the way they tackled, right? Back when I played football, how did you tackle somebody? Head in front of them, because they're not going to break your neck running through you, right? Head in front, drive their ass to the ground, put their dick in the dirt. Now, we put their head behind them. We have to circle them, and we got to like roll up in like rugby style tackle. Like, I get it. It's safer, right? Less concussion, takes your head out of the play, yada, yada, yada. But at some point, we have to reach that ceiling. At some point, we have to be like, hey, you know what? Yes, I do love the 56-54 game. I do love the high-flying offense, 70 points from the Miami Dolphins. But let the people play. Do you remember when old Ed Reed used to destroy wide receivers coming over the middle? Destroy them. He would catch them, and they wouldn't have a chance to get a foot on the ground. Boof. Shoulder in the chest, balls out, game over, lights out. Night, night, sucker. I'm not saying my era of football is the best, but let them hit. Let them play. Let them get a concussion or two. I mean, we all hate concussions, like we all hate seeing people get hurt, but at some point, let the fucking people play. Let them play. Lawrence got paid off for that one playoff game, and now off of his potential. So that's the one thing I do not like about the NFL. Obviously, you get paid off somewhat of your past, but I expect your past to be your bottom line, and I'm paying you for projection for the future, right? Did he get paid off that one playoff game, though? Did he? I mean, we always talk about how the next top quarterback is going to be the highest paid quarterback, and his contract just to be up. Right? Almost like Justin Houston got paid and never did great again. Money definitely went to Justin Houston's head. Yeah, he did. Romanowski. That guy was dirty, man. Who did he spit in, what was it, J.J. Stokes' face? Oh, man. Yeah, you guys are talking about Justin Houston. I was just making sure I was right. But, guys, I do think the Jacksonville Jaguars will be going 7-10 this season. Not a terrible season. Not a great season either. They have a lot of holes they need to fill this season. These next few weeks for the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to tell a lot. Week 1 is going to tell a lot for the Jacksonville Jaguars. If they can compete with Miami and Buffalo in the first 3 weeks of the season, stop the running game, kind of have that safety high, be a decent guy, we'll see. We'll see how they go. But until then, guys, same time, same place, 2:30 East Coast time right here at vanhour.radio.com, facebook.com, and youtube.com. Until then, we out.